My research focuses on Spanish-Moroccan musical collaborations. In particular, I'm interested with the type of fusion that's referred to as flamenca andalusi. This is the bringing together of flamenco, which is the most sort of well-known Spanish musical tradition, and Arab Andalusian music, which is a collection of genres that are believed to have originated in Muslim Spain, otherwise known as Al-Andalus in the Middle Ages, that now exist across North Africa and most notably in Morocco. Now I'm interested in how these two genres are brought together into a fusion project, and very often the ways in which this happens, because they're very different in terms of actual musical styles, the ways in which they're brought together is through the idea of a shared musical heritage, that both flamenco and Arab Andalusian music are the cultural byproducts of Spain's Muslim and Jewish past in Al-Andalus. Now, this is a historically disputed idea, and indeed many historians sort of dispute the notion that there was religious and cultural coexistence between Christians, Jews and Muslims in medieval Spain. But I'm not so much interested in the historical validity, but I'm interested more in what the idea of a shared musical heritage does, what it means, where it comes from, particularly in the context of Spanish-Moroccan relations, and particularly at a time in which we're seeing increasing racism, Islamophobia and so on, not only in Spain, but also across much of Europe and the globe.
In Spain, for many years there was no Jewish population, but then there was this rising interest in Sephardi music. Especially during the colonial period, there was this whole large musicology done on the Sephardim of the Spanish diaspora. What happens when there are no more Jews and they want to perform this music? And so then we have this in Morocco today, and we have it in Spain, is that we have non-Jewish performers performing what is then deemed to be Jewish music. So the questions that are interesting to me is, like, what is Jewish about this music? What makes it more Jewish than something else? Is it the language? Is it the topic? Is it the way that they themselves interact with this music? And so what is it, why is it that it is imperative that this music continue to be performed?
So my research explores encounters and interactions between Algeria and France and Algerian and French musicians throughout the colonial and post-colonial periods, so from the start of the 19th century through to the present day. One of the main aims of my research is to explore and in some ways break down some of the idea that we have of sort of absolute power structures in terms of French and Algerian relations. So this idea of Algeria being the oppressed and France being the oppressor. And I think that music is a good way of looking at that in a more nuanced fashion, and seeing the ways in which kind of creativity and musical expression was shaped in some ways by social and cultural and historical conditions, but also was a reaction against that as well. And I'm looking at music making and musical encounters in lots of different contexts. So that might include classical Western art music during the colonial period. It might involve Andalusi music and Andalusi ensembles during the transition from colonialism to post-colonialism, but it might come to the present day as well. So I'm looking at hip-hop and the hip-hop scene, the Algerian hip-hop scene that emerged in France from the 1990s onwards.
So I'm interested in particular in the Moroccan Protectorate, which extended from 1912 to 1956. I'm interested in looking at how music and sound practice were both used to buttress the colonial structures of power and to resist them, that is, to shape forms of resistance. So with regards to Arab Andalusian music, I'm interested in what was written about it in the scholarship that was produced, and how that scholarship was used as a means to first of all, negotiate ethnicity, both in terms of the differences between Europeans, including both French people and Spaniards and Moroccans, and how the very idea of a Moroccan brotherhood, which was used as a means to justify the colonial occupation, was negotiated in these writings about Arab Andalusian music. As said, I'm also interested in the activity of the Moroccan brotherhoods and how the dancing bodies of the Hamacha and the Aisawa were seen as a danger, as mobilizing a series of ideas and beliefs in the Moroccan population that were thought to endanger the colonial occupation at the time.